Okay, so there are two different types. Because we have two different types of ellipses, we're going to have two different types of formulas that we are going to have to know. These are the ellipses that are centered at the origin. No, they can hear me just fine. Everybody will, so go ahead and say hello, Sean, because Sean's worried about whether they'll be able to hear. Sure. I think it's clearer when I wear the microphone, but they'll be able to hear. So we have to remember that through all of this, ellipses centered at the origin, we know that our foci revolve around C, our major axis revolves around A, and our minor axis uses the B. And we have this relationship that C squared equals A squared minus B squared. If we have a horizontal ellipse, if the ellipse is horizontal, then our standard form is x squared over a squared plus y squared over b squared equal to 1. Our foci being plural of focus for 1, are going to be C comma 0 or negative C comma 0. The length of our major axis is 2a units, and the length of the minor axis is 2b units. If you think about it, we said that the coordinate for our A is from the center out. You know, it's A comma 0. And so, or if you think about finding the length of the major axis, we're going to have to double that up. If we're talking about a vertical, this is where some people have a discrepancy. We can write our vertical equation as y squared over a squared plus x squared over b squared equals 1. Or some people do write x squared over b squared plus y squared over a squared equals 1. What property allows us to say either of those is correct? Commutative property of addition. Very good. The difference between these two are when it's horizontal, the A, which tells us A is larger, right? The A falls with the major axis. A goes with the larger is under the X for horizontal, and the A is under the Y when the vertical is larger. So that's how you can tell your difference. Larger one's under the X for the horizontal, and the larger A is under the Y in vertical. Your foci in the vertical are going to be what? 0, comma C and 0, comma negative C. Good. The length of the major axis is going to be 2A units. And then the length of the minor axis is still going to be 2B units. So we'll finish up today. Let's look at a few ellipses and see if we can write what their equation would be. Anybody need more time, or are we okay? Alright, first we need to identify whether we have a horizontal or a vertical ellipse. Number 1, what is it? It's horizontal, so we immediately know that we are falling under x squared over a squared plus y squared over v squared equals 1. Everybody okay with that? So A is going to come from my major axis. So what is my A going to be? 3. Good, Zach. So my A is going to be 3. My B is going to be what? Well, B comes from my minor axis, so it's just going to be 2. I'm sorry I didn't hear it. And so when we plug that in, gentlemen, we are going to get x squared over 9 plus y squared over 4 equals 1. Remember when I said a circle, the coefficients, everything will always divide out evenly, and it will be very pretty? The coefficients will always, your x squared and your y squared, if it's a circle, they will always divide out evenly. That's not the case with ellipse. With an ellipse, they are not always going, they will not have the same coefficient. Alright, what happens with number 2? Horizontal or vertical? It's going to be vertical. So we've got y squared over a squared plus equals 1. What is my A? It's not 0 because we have a distance. It's going to be 5. Is that better? And then what is my B? And so if we plug in, we're just going to get y squared over 5 squared, which is 25, plus x squared over equals 1. Well, these are level 1. Let's stay at level 1. Let's look at this. Go back, go back. That was level 1. welcome. And this one, yeah, it's drawn. It is not drawn very well. It's not drawn proportionally, is it? But it is horizontal, so that's going to mean we use x squared over a squared plus y squared over b squared equals 1. It is. And so my a is going to be what? 11. And my b is going to be 3. And so I get x squared over 121 plus y squared over equals 1. You okay with that? So we're good on level 1. Okay. Good job.